start the podcast?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, we're starting the podcast.
All right.
That was just our little review. I'll throw that in there throughout the week sometime. A little.
I don't want you to think I'm not focused on things, but if I got to step up for some reason, I'll just...
Is what it is.
Just you can trash me while you're gone, while I'm gone, or... Man, that
hey, Dave's got better priorities in the podcast.
Oh, my God.
So, yeah, go figure, but...
Hey, you threw me on the bus last week. Payback.
So...
Alright, guys, so...
Ooh.
Good evening. Welcome to Game Chat and Chill. I'm Eric. This is...
Shane.
We got... Strange Dave's back. Alright. So anything interesting happening this week with you guys?
Car accident.
Yeah.
I lost my car, and praise the Lord, I didn't get seriously hurt. It could have been from what happened to the car and how it got wrecked.
Yeah.
But I didn't. So
That's awesome.
Thank the Lord for that. Keep me safe. Car's gone, but...
Car's gone, but it can't replace Dave.
Yeah, it can't replace me if I get something serious happen. So...
Yeah, thank God for that. Glad you're
Even
here.
my significant other reminded me of that the other day. Don't keep thinking about it, and he kept you safe.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a good way to look at it. That's a great way to look at it. It's the only way to look at it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're thankful that you're sitting here and
absolutely
able to carry on conversations with us still.
Had everybody say the same thing I said when I got out of the car and saw what happened after I tried to drive away, because it was caused by geese flying up, trying to cross the road all of a sudden and flying up in that never have happened with me before, and then I, on a wet road, just tapped the brake, spun around backwards, went through the lawn, slammed into the trees, and I said the exact same thing everybody else said to me, kidding around with me, or it's partly serious. Should have just drove through.
Yeah. So I hear that.
Because you don't think about that because you're not most people aren't maniacs. Like in Grand Theft, you play Grand Theft Auto. Hey, I'm just going to drive down the sidewalk to see what happens. But you don't do that. You just.
We're all animal lovers here. We're not tree huggers. Yep. We're animal lovers. So we would try to avoid. I try to avoid squirrels. He tries to avoid the geese, and he ends up totaling his car over. So if it comes to life and death, guys, sometimes the geese got to go. It just becomes dinner that night. That's why you got to look at it. If it's kitty cat, on the other hand, ain't much to eat on that, but.
Depending who's doing it, I guess.
Wow.
Just kidding.
What kind of meal?
I have 2 cats.
Wow.
Anyways, anything happened with you this week?
Oh, gosh, let's see. This week, there's Passover. There's my wife's birthday.
When was that?
Stuff at work.
Did it already happen?
Yeah, it already happened.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's see. Higher increased PlayStation subscription.
Ooh.
Let's see. I don't know if that'll be a prelude for later. Yeah. Let's see what else happened. What's going on? One step closer to getting a motorcycle.
Did they take blood from you?
Not yet. No? Really? No. But it's just, just a normal week.
PlayStation asking for blood?
No, I'll save more for later. But it's just, trying to think what else would happen. My son was very happy. Now he's playing, Mickey's Rebrushed. It's been pretty quiet for the most part, except for some of the things I mentioned already. But it's a fast week. Time flew by. It's almost May.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the warmer weather. Got a break. Then we've got, of course, Resurrection Sunday, Easter coming up.
I'm looking forward to the warmer weather, though.
In warmer weather, see stuff sprouting up.
Yeah.
Some color. A little bit of the weather, though, but yeah. Overall, it was a good one. It was a fast week. A lot going on this time.
I'm trying to think. Do I have anything? Really? I don't even remember. I got so much crap going on. Mm-hmm. I'm still trying to prepare the nursery.
Mm-hmm.
I had to take a day off of work to work in the nursery to get a bunch of them. I only got half the stuff done. I've got 50 million plants I got to get repotted or potted.
Imagine with all that with the plants, let alone sinking on apple trees.
I don't even know if I have enough pots. I just realized that. I got to look through the pots. But anyways, yeah. I think we all have Friday off, right? Because it's Good Friday.
Good Friday, yeah.
You don't?
I don't think I do.
I don't know if we do it, but I think we're supposed to. Because it's a paid holiday. Everywhere you go, it's a paid holiday.
Yeah, I'll look and see if that's what they're going to do or not. Because Easter, you don't
get
that off.
But if it is, that means
time off, but it's not.
I get to spend that day potting up plants because that's what I got to do. Anyways, so like I said, I'm going to start off the podcast with a joke. I found 2 that I wanted to share. So
joke number 1 is...
Yep. This is something we could all relate to, maybe. Okay. So a woman noticed her husband standing on the bathroom scale, sucking in his stomach. Ha! That's not going to help. She said, "Sure it does." He replies, "It's the only way I can see the numbers."
You want to hear something funny as well?
Oh no.
I remember that, like, I don't know if it was like, with Disney, they had like these things, and you don't have a cartoon or do something. I remember somewhere where it talked about when you stood on a scale, if you could not see the numbers, there was a problem.
Yeah.
You need to work out.
Yeah.
But it didn't seem to put anyone down or anything. But they just it was done in a comical manner. But you made me think of that.
That's why I did it, because we can all relate to that.
Yeah.
Especially certain times of year.
Yeah. But yeah.
Anyways, I asked my date to meet me at the gym. She never showed. That's when I knew it wasn't going to work out.
There's a sign. Gosh.
Anyways.
Wow, I thought my comic
Moving
was
on.
dry.
Moving on to the...
no more? Is there another one?
Nope, that's it for today.
For today.
Moving on to the broken controller.
That was cool, though. It makes you think.
The first one I killed, because I screwed it up at the end, but it was funnier when I found it.
Oh gosh, it's not what you say; it's how you say it.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways,
delivery.
Yep, delivery is the key. We're gonna start off with the broken controller
What kind
club.
of skill? Never mind.
We're gonna start off with the broken controller club. If you want to be part of the broken controller club, all you gotta do is stop by the channel, leave a comment on any one of the videos, and you get a shout out in the podcast. So that's simple. You become part of the club. I'll check out your channel, tell everybody what it's about or whatever, and it's a great way to meet new people and share the hobby. So we're gonna start off with the same guy from last week. Who's one of the new. We're seeing some new faces. We got a new subscriber, new face this week.
Cool.
Another new one. This last one, Poop Ninja.
Awesome.
Another gaming channel. I was talking about him last week.
Mm-hmm.
He's right around the same subscriber as we are. Tommy G. He's an OG. He was one of the OGs from the original.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for stopping by, Tommy G. And then the new guy, 392 Mopar 4. And he just got some random videos on there. I didn't dig too deep into it, but he's just kind of a random. Hey, I like this. I'm stopping by. You got a new subscriber here, because he was talking about Twisted Metal.
Awesome.
Nice.
Honorable mention. Awesome.
He was checking out the Twisted Metal games.
Cool.
Shared his favorite one, and I told him what my favorite ones were, or whatever. And I told him, hey, if you stop by, you get a shout out. Leave a comment. So we're gonna go on to the next segment called Gaming News and Beyond.
Okay.
So in this segment, we talk about the latest stuff that we've uploaded over the however long, the past week or whatever, and then we get into news, gaming news, the new stuff that's coming out or whatever. Sometimes it's new movie stuff, sometimes it's new game stuff. It just depends on what it is. Retro, anything news that we may like. I just figured, hey, I'll write it down and we'll talk about it.
News.
So one of the first things I'll talk about, the new spin-off of Game Chat and Chill, Game Chat. That episode aired last week. Mm-hmm. It didn't do so hot, but I think they're going to have a lot to do with the title of the game that we're talking about, is my guess.
Sure, of
but
course.
Then again, it may do better on other platforms too, because I've noticed that. Like if one video doesn't do good on this one, it does good on a different one, either Facebook or TikTok. It's crazy how it works. So either way, it's getting out there. We uploaded Twisted Metal 1. These were all co-op games. We all filmed just like with the little window in the corner and then the gameplay. So we did Twisted Metal 1, Twisted Metal 2 with me and then one of my sons. And then also Road Rash 3D, I uploaded that one. That one was with Matthew's Epic Gaming. He's got his own gaming channel. I'll throw that link in the description. And then the Contra. We beat the Contra game. Contra Operations Galuga. Right? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think that's how you pronounce it.
I hated having to leave.
Yeah, so Shane, he started off with us, and he had to go, play dad, because that's what he does. And
full-time job.
Yep, exactly. He had to go home. No excuses. And my son stepped in, and he continued to play with us, and he helped us beat it. So that was kind of cool. I mean, it was a lot of come on, going on, come on, really, come on.
Yeah.
Always.
Pardon me, I shouldn't just say it's full-time job. It's an honor.
There you go.
Take that back, because it ain't nothing to compare like that. I'm very thankful.
And nothing compares to being a dad. The joys from being a dad.
Absolutely.
The gift is the reward. There's no way to describe it. So yeah, that one was just under 2 hours. We did it just under 2 hours. This is for the PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
And I mean, we died a million times.
Yeah, those kind of games are shooter, run and gun shooters.
But that's what to expect.
Especially Contra. So
that's to be expected.
Contra does that.
But we made it. The last boss, I was this close to giving up. I was like, you know what, I'm done.
The
giant alien thing with the eyeball.
Was it like the one that was like on whatever stage that we had first that like had the arms that come out and went like horizontal and then
it was way bigger.
It was huge.
It was like Godzilla sized kind of dude.
Oh right.
Yeah, and there's multiple, like with most big bosses, there's multiple platforms in doing so.
Stages to it.
Yeah, different stages to it.
Yep.
The first one, like once we got that figured out, then the next one after that was a pain.
It gets a little more aggressive.
Yeah, it's more aggressive and.
Yep. That's common.
So yeah, if you guys are interested in those videos, go check them out. They're uploaded. It's the new Game Chat, which is a different format than this. We just strictly talk about whatever games we've played or beaten and whatnot, just strictly on the subject of that. This doesn't go into no news, doesn't go into anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Just a spin-off of Game Chat and Chill. Twisted Metal 1, Contra, Operation Galuga, Twisted Metal 2, and then the Road Rash games. So if you like any of that stuff, go check it out. Road Rash 3D, original PlayStation 1 games. And like we were discussing this, like YouTube is slacking on my channel. Like we're looking at the views, there's only like 20 something views for whatever reason. But then I noticed today, YouTube might have gotten a hold of them on the algorithm because now they're doubled from what they were.
Wow. That's cool.
So that means they're getting pushed a little bit more than they were this week. So maybe it just the algorithm needed to catch up with it. Who knows? But anyways, go check those out. New PlayStation Plus free games to download for April. They'll get RoboCop, Rogue City, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and then Digimon Story, Cyber Sleuth, Hacker's Memory. Is that all one word, or is that two different games?
I haven't tried the last one.
Yeah, I
haven't tried the Texas Chainsaw Massacre either.
Oh yeah, I haven't tried any of them.
But the RoboCop, I got that when that was at launch. I got that with the extra cosmetics and stuff. From RoboCop 2 and the gun, and I'm like near. Did I conquer it? I think I I don't want to spoil anything, so I just caught I believe I conquered it. So I want to go back and do some fine tuned stuff. But if you, I like the movies, anyway. So especially for Peter Weller, praising the voice of RoboCop and going through
the original
nostalgia.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yep. So it's really cool. I think where you get to discover going around. I mean, I don't want to compare it to like Terminator Resistance or anything, but just going around and doing stuff that is allowed. It's kind of cool to solve some crimes and do some detective work as a cop, let alone getting into heavier stuff, let alone the OCP stuff and figuring things out. But I liked it. It's fun. I like it. The graphics are good. It's very easy to play. It's just knowing what you're doing and upgrading your skills appropriately. Like most games have that too. Your skill tree. It's cool to unlock different things and capabilities that he has that you think you watch a movie, you see that, but there's more to it. So it's kind of cool to take that to another level.
That's cool. Yeah, other than that, I don't.
He's seen too, so it's
I don't
cool.
know what I haven't played the other games. I downloaded them, so maybe in the future I'll check them out. But so we're gonna do some rumor has it here. Rumor has it Nintendo. Oh, hold on, before I start, I just want to say that for whatever reason, I'm guessing because Switch 2 is trending, there is a crap load of Switch 2 like blasted all over.
Well, even if you just search like Nintendo and like Switch 2, I was thinking you're gonna just get their trailers. It's everybody else talking about it.
Yeah, and I was trying to find other stuff to talk about. It was just really, 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 really hard. So you can see, you'll see as we go through, like how hard it was to find anything else besides
Nintendo.
So a lot of this discussion is going to be on, which is fine.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Because it's all cool stuff that's coming out with it, and what to look forward to. So yeah, just to give a heads up, there's going to be a lot of Switch 2 discussion.
Okay. Well, it's in the.
There's a little bit of other stuff too. So rumor has it Nintendo's working on more retro controllers for Switch 2. A new version of the NES controller will be released for full compatibility for the Switch 2, but it will have limited compatibility with other ones. Most Switch accessories will work on the new system, The stuff that won't are the original dock station, the HDMI cable, the charging stand, and the micro SD cards. Some of the controllers will lose functions. The original Joy-Cons home button does not work for it, and you can't change them on the new system either.
Can I ask a question? On the new system, do you pay extra to use another button?
Yes,
Okay.
because it has something.
Function?
It has something to do with basically like PlayStation Plus kind of thing.
Yeah.
Something like
They're online,
Okay.
it's either button for chat.
Okay.
Because
or
they added all
something.
that stuff for the Nintendo Switch 2. They didn't really have that before.
So there's that. So anyways, they're coming out with a line of like the original Nintendo controllers that are
They
completely.
did say they were going to do a GameCube one because the GameCube Online will be added.
Yeah, I think I've seen something about that too. But these are the ones that I caught on to right away, and it's gonna be the Square controller like the NES system, and they're fully compatible with the Switch too. But then like if you go to use the Switch accessories itself, only some of that stuff is gonna work with it. Like the Joy-Cons will work with it, but you can't attach it to it. You can't charge them from it. You got to recharge it back on the original stuff. You can't swap the docks, so you can't.
Apologize. I'll be right back.
So you can't
Keep
take
talking.
the Switch 2 and put it from like one room to the other on the old dock because it ain't gonna work. It's got its own stuff and its
That's
own
updated. So, yeah.
its own things. So April 18th, new information on the Star Wars Outlaws DLC comes out. I don't know if you're interested in that.
What now?
The
New DLC?
yeah, there's a new DLC for the Nintendo's
That's cool.
for new information on the Star Wars. Well, it's information on the DLC for the new Star Wars Outlaws game that comes out. So I mean, I don't even know if that game's
It's a
out
new
yet.
Outlaws game that comes out because I got
Star Wars Outlaws.
So I have that. So they're coming out with a
Okay,
sequel. New game coming. Or
DLC.
Okay, that's cool. There's some that's out there right now, but I only got a couple cosmetic stuff, but I haven't got all the other DLCs. But that's nice. They're coming out with a new one. I think there was one that was mentioned that to date to be determined. So that must be it.
So I'll save this.
Cool.
I'll save this last one for Dave because this is a topic we can discuss.
Okay.
So I'll just move on a little bit to this. Do a little Xbox discussion here. Okay. So the next thing I want to talk about is rumor has the Xbox showcase on June 8th may include. These are some of the new things that people are speculating. They may include Games of War. Games of War. Gears of War.
Okay.
Hollow Knight.
Mm-hmm.
Silksong. Minecraft Dungeons 2.
Ooh.
Ninja Gaiden 4. And Persona 4 Remake.
Wow.
So those are things that they're supposedly they're assuming or guessing is going to be
okay.
like information on that stuff, updated information maybe. Or I don't think any of these games have been verified yet that they're actually going to be made. These are just I think rumors that these games are in the works. So if
came from somewhere.
Yeah, so they're I guess they're going to wait and see if that day that they talk about it. That's what I heard. That's what I read.
What about Wolverine?
No.
Waiting for Wolverine.
I did read that the Odyssey, what's that alien game? Something Odyssey.
Yeah. Odes Odyssey?
Yes. That was actually fact. That is coming out. The new game of that.
That's cool.
Is coming out.
Mm-hmm.
That's been verified. So that's to look forward to. I don't know what system it's for.
Okay.
But I just read that was verified.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and Dave's back. All right, let's see. So this is kind of interesting. This one. Nintendo fans are fighting against the scalpers on eBay. They're getting reported and taken down as fast as they are getting listed. So this is a huge shift in protecting people from getting scalped. Like, this is huge.
It's like selling them all to scalpers instead of people that actually want to buy the system.
Because in eBay a lot they were allowing it because there's a process to it. Like
they make money off of it.
Yeah, because like you're allowed to do that, but the transaction of the order has to be completed within a certain amount of days. And if it isn't, then you can go back and file a claim against them.
Yeah.
But for some reason right now I'm thinking maybe eBay's working with whoever to try to get the scalpers to stop. I don't know. All I know is people are fighting back this time. Whereas all the other times is just it got out of hand. Like you should not.
PlayStation and stuff.
You should not be paying $1,000 if it's only cost you half.
They gouged worse with the PlayStation 5 because of the shortage on that.
Yeah.
They were charging people $2,500 a pop. They'd overbuy them. They buy them all up, and then at a certain point, scalpers got what they deserved because they were available everywhere.
Yeah.
And they got stuck with systems, and they had to sell them less.
Yeah.
To get rid of them less than what they paid for them.
Yep. So they lost out big time.
Shame on them.
Shame on you! No.
Shame on for what?
I thought about it back then when I actually had money.
But,
when I had money at the time,
fair.
I thought about it like actually buying PlayStations and scalping them. But
this is another thing on Nintendo Switch. Nintendo Switch Online adds 3 classic Sega Genesis games.
Ooh, which one?
eSWAT, Streets of Rage, and what was the other one?
Super Thunderblade.
Oh, yep.
Yep.
Mm.
Streets of Rage, Super Thunderblade, and eSWAT.
Yep.
I don't know anything about them except for Streets of Rage.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
But that's cool. Oh, didn't they already have like Streets of Rage 2 on there? I was showing you, or I was talking to you on the phone the one time. I was reading off the games. Like
Yep, that's on there.
It's the
That's
second
considered
one,
the best
but
one
now
out of
it's
them, all of them. We have to
okay,
play
but
that
now they're
3.
putting the first one on.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's kind of cool. So that's available if you have the Switch Online. It's available right now,
Yep.
I think.
Yep.
So
I do like that Sega made a deal with them to put their old stuff on.
Yeah.
Not just the old Nintendo or Super Nintendo games, but they put Sega Genesis games on that.
So if you have the Switch, now's the time to go download and check it out. Once the Switch 2 launches, we'll also be able to play games. And you told me this, but then I forgot about it until I read it. Once the Switch 2 launches, June 5th or whatever it is, we'll also be able to play GameCube games from the Switch online services.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So it's another added bonus, which is cool.
Yeah, they showed a huge list of already, and they said they're going to add more down the road. Like
But
they showed stuff that they're going to.
With that being said, I don't know any good titles. I had the GameCube.
Yeah.
I had literally 2 or 3 games that I never played it. It just sat there collecting dust. So I was like,
I know a big
what's
one.
what's the point of having this?
A big one
Standouts?
that they're happy about because they haven't made a new one in the series in a long time was F-Zero, the one from Game. That game's awesome. They're going to put out online.
The only one that
and you'll be able to play. I think you'll be able to play that online too.
Nice.
The only one that me and my friends played because we'd have drinking parties was the SSX
3 or tricky,
something like
probably,
that.
Yeah, the tricky
some
one.
kind of snowboarding one.
Yeah,
We'd get 4 people playing that.
EA Sports big.
Yeah.
And that was a good time.
Yeah.
We were just sitting around drinking and partying up, and then we'd be playing that, racing that down the hills, and it wasn't as easy as Cool Borders. It was trickier than Cool Borders, but it was something.
That's more of an
More
over the
pipe
top
doing and
arcadey.
steep.
Yeah, SSX was their EA Sports big.
Mm-hmm.
Arcadey type stuff where they did with NBA
Okay.
Street and all that stuff.
Yeah,
so it's like more arcadey funny stuff. So it's like
I can't remember.
Simulation type.
I can't remember the other games. I only had 2 or 3 games, and I could never find another game to play on it because it's just.
Yeah, you were not a big.
They're baby games.
Yeah, but now I think you're kind of changing your attitude about that.
Yeah, it's starting to grow on me.
Because you find out how games are actually fun, even if they seem
Well, yeah,
like
because I didn't have anybody to show me anything.
Yeah.
Like,
I
went into a lot of this stuff blind, So yeah, so here's something that's cool. So, so far that I know, there's going to be at least 2 games at launch. There may be more. I have no idea. The first one is Mario Kart, whatever world that is, and then this one here, Donkey Kong Bonanza.
Yeah, it's a 3D.
Yeah, Donkey Kong Bonanza.
Donkey Kong game.
Did this come out at launch though? It comes out July 17th this year.
A little bit later.
So
nice.
That's something to look forward to. And it's not they're not sticking with like the same platform style. Somehow it's gonna be different.
Yeah, it's not like Donkey Kong Country games where it's a 2D platformer. This one's open world like the Mario games are now.
Okay.
Like 3D.
So I just know that he's gonna be able to like destroy part of the world that he's and use parts of the world as weapons.
The environment, yeah.
Yeah, parts of the environment as weapons, and then use the other parts to like I guess as like a skateboard or a ski or a snowboard or something to use to surf on it kind of thing. Yeah.
Nice.
So it says Donkey Kong Bonanza releases July 17th. Retail's gonna be $70 for the Switch 2, which ain't horrible. It sucks.
That one's on the lower end of how
it's on the lower end. It's going to be
We're all like,
more action oriented. Punching, destroying enemies and terrain, also using the terrain to surf and weaponize it. Okay, so that's the end of that segment. So yeah, so that's something I'm gonna be looking forward to because I'm a big Donkey Kong fan. But I have to somehow get the system because those are two games that I will play.
Yeah, and the good thing about like even with some of the stuff you can, they said most. It depends if they're going to be backwards compatible or not. They're going to try to support most from Switch, but they'll be able to run better on that system too. They'll be able, they showed even on their trailer how quickly they load up. Like even an open world game like the Zelda games, how it takes a little bit to load up. They loaded up like.
You know what's crazy? I seen how the guy when we were at the game store today, how fast this game loaded up when you put it in the PS2.
Yeah, because they did. Yeah,
because like when you put this in the PlayStation 1, it literally takes 5 minutes to get the game to start.
Yep.
That's
that was a good thing about the back. Yeah, the older.
Like I could not believe how long it takes to load a stinking game. But that could also be another thing too, is the laser could be wearing out. That was a sign of the laser going out on it. If it took too long,
reading it. Yeah.
So I need to Google the loading time.
Or cleaning.
I also found there's a good way to play like the. See, I'm not suggesting you do emulation. Illegal. But the PlayStation Classic, you can still get the classic systems they did.
Yeah.
And they had certain games, only so many games on. If you're like, but you literally can get that thing because there's mods for that. You can, and it has the way the menu opens up with all the cases and stuff on that. Like,
okay.
You can literally have all the PlayStation games on that thing.
Really? On the PlayStation Classic?
Yeah, with something you add to it, and it shows all the things, all the games. So you can get those relatively cheap used. But then you can play all the.
So we're gonna have to look into that. Then.
Yeah, PlayStation games. You can play every single one.
What about for controller wise? What?
It uses the PlayStation regular controllers that came with it.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to keep our eye open for that because that'd be something we could test out and review, and then try to figure out how to put more stuff on it.
Yeah, you could. Yeah.
Down the road.
Good
so
idea.
so that's the end of that one. We're gonna be getting into the PlayStation Portal update. This is kind of cool. There's some cool updates. Did you update it yet? I haven't updated my. Yeah, it just happened like a day or two ago. Okay.
All right. What's up?
So, I'm noticing the Portal is becoming more and more separate from the PlayStation 5. That's what they're moving towards.
That's nice.
Oh, the portable,
like the Switch, right? So you don't.
Yeah, I mean, it already is.
Well, you have an account.
They're trying to make it more of a second type of system.
Mm-hmm.
It's separate now, compared. It's still streaming. But it's still
so that could be a function instead of having its own capability.
So there's some cool new stuff going on here.
I'm interested to hear.
PlayStation Portal update 5.0.0, I believe it is. The create button is now enabled, so you can record a video clip. It stores it in the cloud for up to 14 days, and you can access it through your PlayStation app. Whereas before you couldn't. Like you couldn't even. For a while, if you tried to record your gameplay. It wouldn't record nothing. You couldn't do nothing. But then they did an update, and then you could do it. You can record it on your PS5.
Mm-hmm.
So while you're playing on your Portal, you hit record, and it'll record it to your PS5. Now you can hit record, and it doesn't record to your PS5. It records to the cloud, and then you can deal with it however you want to.
PlayStation Cloud. Okay.
So that's one of the they're moving more towards separating from the main console.
Mm-hmm.
You can now organize your catalog by name or release date or recently added.
Mm-hmm.
So now instead of going for 5 minutes, you can put the games you want or wherever you want to put them so you can play them.
Yeah, well, I noticed that they had the interactive background.
That was for the PS5. That was an update for the PS5.
Right, let's get into that. Yeah.
That a lot of people don't know. They added, isn't it an animated background or something?
Yes. There's like Astrobot, different various games that have some. I don't know if there's like 6 to 8 of them.
There is one kind of on the same subject, Xbox, because their anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
There's a free, their the themes with all their Microsoft characters that you can get for free. Download on the Xbox.
Yeah, it's kind of like that Days Gone.
Yeah.
So all that stuff. So that'd be something you can, because you have one to download because I guess it's free for the anniversary.
Yep.
Going along with what you guys are talking about the PlayStation stuff.
You can now organize the catalog by name, release date, or recently added.
That's good.
Seems more like the Portal is separating from your PS5 and more of a separate system for gaming. Remote play versus cloud streaming. Remote play is kind of... Also, I think this is my opinion on what I've noticed with it. So remote play versus cloud streaming. There's a difference.
Big difference. Oh yeah,
Big
because
difference.
you can't play the PlayStation if you it's one or the other basically.
Remote play is kind of floaty
Mm-hmm.
because you're playing through via internet.
Yep.
So I've noticed that it is what it is. Um, whereas the cloud streaming is more on point with controlling in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So it's better steering, better what's the word I'm looking for?
Functionality.
Yeah, like it picks up on the steering faster than there's no floating. So like, those are some of the things that I've noticed with the portal. Oh, okay. I guess we're done with that section. We're done with that. This one is we're gonna be talking about retro console accessories. So what I wanted to talk about, I wrote a whole bunch of stuff down. I got these are accessories. They were basically a flop.
Now that would be an upgrade.
The power glove.
New power glove.
Oh,
that's one of them.
Ooh. Yeah.
So
all right.
Power glove.
I don't know if you guys have played any of these things.
Okay.
Have used any of these things.
Let's get to it.
All right. So the first one is the NES ROB. It's like a Nintendo robot. I remember seeing commercials.
Oh yeah, I remember
for
seeing that. I think it was overpriced. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really overpriced, but I don't know anything about it. Do you guys know anything about it?
Not a whole lot.
I need spring.
See, I just didn't.
It was one of those things you had to be rich, or your parents had to be giving you everything.
I really wanted to dig into these things, but I just didn't have time.
Nintendo accessories. I think he talked about it, made fun of it, or
who did?
The angry video game nerd.
Okay.
Was it like an R2D2 that does?
Yeah, it looks like
is the Nintendo robot. Oh yeah, I got pictures to show you guys.
Okay.
Just for reference. And he may be able to find something better. I have what I can find on the internet. I have screenshots.
Rob.
I've seen that before.
Yep. Rob.
It's Wally.
He was a robotic, that's what it stood for, a robotic operating buddy, was a toy robot accessory for the Nintendo system, released in 1985, designed to be a two-player for the games of Gyromite and Stack Up. And it was a key part of Nintendo's marketing strategy to shift Nintendo away from being seen as just another video game console.
Wow.
He used a sensor in its head to detect flashes from the TV screen, allowing it to move its arms and interact with the games.
It's kind of like Captain Power with that plane.
Overpriced. Overpriced.
Yeah. That's what I got right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the question that's on here is Rob the robot rare? This is how they put it in where they were uncommon because it was a sales gimmick that did not work well with many games. The rarity today is that as a toy add-on that didn't work well, kids neglected this to store them well once the real game showed up. So that's why I got a mint one, you probably get a decent amount of money for that, but yeah, Rob the robot. Yeah.
And so I don't think I knew anybody that had that. I just remember seeing the commercials
because they were expensive as all could be too.
Next one is the NES Zapper, which I have one.
Yeah, it came with the system, the gun, yeah.
Duck Hunt.
There's other ones, yeah.
Yeah, that one I don't think it flopped. It's just that one actually worked out.
Yeah, that was
popular.
People
used it all the time. People still use it all the time.
Yep.
The next one, which I have too, we got to do a video on that. The NES Advantage. The joystick one.
Oh yeah.
Like arcade.
Oh yeah, the control. Yeah,
we gotta try that at some point. Try playing Mario Brothers with it or something. We should do that, like a live stream or something like that. Anyways, next one, the NES Power Pad.
Oh boy.
The power, playing track and field on that, trying to run. Forget about it. You had to get on the ground and
dance. Here we
move
go.
the camera. Sorry, but yeah, I remember seeing the Angry Video Game doing his video years ago, doing the Nintendo accessories. That's what he did. He got on the ground.
For Olympics.
Yeah, the track and field game. That's what it worked for. The Konami. Forget about that. He's like, nope, you got on the ground and.
Next one is the NES Max.
Is that that one
the controller? Yeah, it's like some kind of a.
That was an overpriced thing too. It had turbo. I think all.
I think my dad has that. I think.
Yeah.
or he did have it,
wasn't
or
a D-pad really
somebody
on that
I
either.
know or knew owned it. Because I remember seeing it in somebody's box. A box of accessories.
Robots. My gosh. Are they going to be still remaking Flight of the Navigator? Never mind. Sorry.
He's got off from something because of the
Disney Plus,
robot.
But
Okay, go ahead.
So do you remember what games you could use it for?
Max?
Any games?
Yeah, I think so.
It was
For the most. I remember back
Do
in
you
the
remember
day
what it
they
looked
were
like,
like was it RC
Right
Pro Am? They were like
oh yeah, I
showing you.
remember that.
They were showing you
Max.
like playing with RC Pro Am and stuff like that, and
Max.
different things
Again,
like
Flight of
that.
the Navigator.
That's why
Sorry.
I thought about the robot in Max.
Yep. Okay.
What about Max Syndrome? He did
There
a
we go.
Coke commercial.
The-
Max Syndrome. You know, 80s. Yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff.
All right. So the next one is the NES Satellite.
Doesn't ring a bell.
What is it?
I don't know. They had a lot of stuff back
Good
then.
question.
But they also had the goggles.
What's all the
thing,
good stuff?
Google it.
The eyepiece.
It's got.
the headgear.
Oh, it's
Some of the stuff probably saw it, didn't you think? Let alone the big giant.
it's a 4-player adapter.
Oh, okay.
I remember that. Somebody I
Okay.
knew had that. It might have been my dad.
What about the turbo controller? The big one.
Oh, hold on. One
Never,
thing at
I'm
a
just
time.
thinking.
I think you did that with a joystick. With the control.
Oh, maybe.
The joystick
Yeah, it's like
stuff.
huge.
But the
Maybe I
NES
did too.
Max, or
Was that the
no,
Max?
no.
That's not
This one,
turbo.
right? That one, right? Or no?
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah,
the one?
that's the one that was.
Yeah, because I have
yeah.
that.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what he was talking
Yeah,
about playing
okay.
Mario Bros. On that. Or
Yeah. So the NES Satellite, that was for 4 players. Yeah, I remember that. The Miracle Piano. What the crap
yeah, that's
is
like
that?
that's a third party thing.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a third party thing.
What, is it going to be a new Game Genie?
You're playing. No, you're
It's
playing.
a
piano.
piano
Yeah.
somehow.
Yep.
Okay.
Played certain things. Yeah.
Yeah, that was weird. They came out in 1990, but
It's a good movie. Think we're doing Big 2? Never mind.
can we talk about the Power Glove?
Big 2.
No, I didn't
What?
talk about that yet.
I say, can we?
Yeah, sure,
Did you
why
guys
not?
know anybody that had that?
Yeah.
Wizard?
The problem is, yeah, they promoted so hard. The Wizard with Super Mario Bros. 3. Look at what you could do.
Oh no, you killed it!
I killed this. Man, Shane's like elbow in the tape. No, I'm kidding.
I'm back.
I moved it around too. But
Guess
like,
who's back?
they pushed that
Back
to Super Mario
again.
Bros. 3 to promote
Ba,
Super
ba,
Mario
ba.
Bros. 3. But look at the Power Glove, and it did not work the way they portrayed it in the movie. It was garbage. Nowadays, they could probably do a lot with Bluetooth technology.
Oh,
With
yeah.
motion controllers, what they did with the Wii, but Bluetooth technology, they could probably do a lot with the Power Glove. But the problem is, it was garbage. Overpriced garbage.
They
There
could
you
do a
go.
lot with
It
it.
looked cool,
They
but-
could have skins, to change in case you want to like play a Predator game or change it where if you're, Batman. It's just a lot of stuff because there's a lot of utility stuff. Sorry, ideas maybe.
I think I knew one. Yeah, I knew one person that had it. You gotta be kidding me.
Yeah, as long as it don't get ripped or
There you go.
damaged in some way.
Yeah, one person that had it, but he never used it. It just was on his dresser. He just laid it on his dresser.
What's just the point of having it?
Yeah, and then so the only thing he would let me use was the NES Power Pad. I remember we'd get on the floor and
Yeah.
down on to try it, but we only played that a few times.
Yep.
So here's one that I never even knew existed. The
Yeah.
roll rocker, the rolling rocker. What the crap
I
is
know,
that?
I know what that is.
Roll rocker.
Rolling rocker.
Yeah, it's like for certain games, like you're on kind of like a skateboard type thing, but it's like back and forth.
Okay,
Yeah,
there's
you
got to be
stand on
something
it,
with like
yeah.
a driving wheel now. We haven't said something
Yeah.
about that yet.
The rolling rocker is like something on a board
Is
that
it-
moves back and yeah.
Okay.
No, it's not
No,
driving.
there's no driving wheel.
I
Yeah,
thought there
back
would
and
be.
forth. No,
No.
it's not.
But for the next system, there is.
Ooh.
So hold on,
Okay.
we'll get there.
Sorry.
The next system, there is.
Sugar and spice.
We're doing 8-bit today.
Okay.
Okay. So just get the
Okay.
wheels turning.
Okay.
So yeah, the Game Genie. Everybody had one of them. Or if you didn't, I don't
Yeah,
know. what to
I
tell
had
ya.
one. I had one for Sega Genesis.
I
and Super
think
Nintendo.
I still have mine in there. It's either for the Nintendo. I think it's for the Nintendo Game Genie. It's on the shelf in there.
Always told not to save your game file. Like if you could save it on certain games with using the Game Genie, because it'd mess it up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember there's all kinds of weird rules, but I don't remember what they
Yeah.
are anymore. But
Don't save your game. I'm like, okay.
I remember on accident putting in this code and it was Prince of Persia, and all of a sudden I end up at the last stage, and I was like,
Oh,
"Oh,
wait a second.
bonus!"
Yeah, how did I get here?
we're gonna have to do some research here because there's two 4-person connector units.
They're probably different depending.
I wonder if one of
yeah,
them
who
is
made
wireless.
No, it's probably who made them. It's because they had aftermarket stuff.
Because you still have to plug it in and then
Yeah, they had the seal.
Well, they both say
Nintendo seal of
yeah,
quality.
they both have the same.
Well, the seal of quality doesn't mean it's made by Nintendo. It's just because they.
So it could be still third party.
Brand.
Yeah, it's a third brand.
All right, we'll get there. All right, so yeah, the Game Genie. We still have it. We should test it out.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? It's one of these days just to see what it can do. How about this is the other one. NES 4 Score it's called. And it's got 4 slots for 4 controllers.
Okay, another one like the satellite.
It's another one like the satellite. And then the last but not least, we got the Aladdin Deck Enhancer. What the crap is that?
I'm thinking. Heard of it, but.
Oh, it's not the last release. There's one more
thing. Deck enhancer. I know what that is. It's all as a deck. You put your controller in there, so the controller doesn't move around. It's this pointless thing. It's pointless garbage.
Oh, yeah. It's the board. You put the controller there, and it's like a computer.
Yeah, it's pointless garbage. It's a third-party thing. It's not a Nintendo thing. It's a third-party waste of plastic.
Yeah, it's dumb. So the next thing, the last but not least, is, do you remember the Konami Laser Scope?
This is the headgear thing? You're talking about the headgear thing, right? You're talking about the thing on your head, and you speak into it.
Yep.
Fire! Like if you're playing.
Yep. Command Conquer.
Yeah. Like you're playing Top Gun. Fire!
Yeah,
Fire!
Remember I was telling you guys about yelling at your PlayStation?
Yeah.
I think that was linked to that.
That was basically Nintendo, like the Angry Video Gamer did a video on all that stuff. He said it was ridiculous because you have the head thing with a thing.
Yeah,
in there,
I got a picture.
You had the. One thing in your eye, but you're speaking to him. He goes, "It'd be quicker to do this thing. Fire!" He goes, "Wait a minute!" He started swearing at it.
Yeah.
He started swearing at it, and it basically.
Remember those senior pictures?
You say fire to shoot at it, right? Yeah. But he said he started swearing, and it kept doing the thing.
Yeah, when I googled this, it said that yelling the word fire is completely useless because you could say anything and it would fire.
Basically, that's what he did.
Okay.
He swore like the Angry Video Gamer.
Yeah. Anyway.
So that's what it looks like, that headpiece. So a lot I really did want to dig into these because
down memory lane.
They're not like a lot of them flopped.
Or mainstream. That's probably why.
That's why I did. Because I was like, where's all these accessories? Why don't you see them now? Very rarely do you see anything. All right, so the next one is the Sega Master System.
Okay.
And I didn't have high hopes for this, but I'm like, it's an 8-bit system just like Nintendo, so they had to have accessories.
Yeah, they did.
So I looked it up.
They didn't have. I don't think it had as many, but
there's quite a few. There's quite a few. Yeah.
We'll see what they had because I know I had a few of them.
All right. Oops. These ones you could definitely tell they're old. They got that old black style to them, the old plastic.
Yeah.
First thing, Pro Action Replay. It was a cartridge that you put another cartridge on, and I think that was the thing that you could play different games. You could use different game systems.
Yeah.
Make it compatible.
Yeah.
Because there was another system like this that you can use the games. You can swap the games with somehow.
I think it might have been the Japanese, like to play Japanese.
Yeah, it could be. I can't remember what it was, but I don't know if I can read it. The writing is so small.
Or video.
Following the successful release of cheat cartridges on the Commodore 64,
Foot pedal.
Daytel moved its focus onto home consoles. One of its first efforts, a Master System version of the Pro Action Replay, was only released in small quantities in Europe. Those hoping for quick access to infinite lives should look towards the easier-to-find German version, while diehard collectors may want to scout out the more desired UK versions. So, there you go. I think it's the Game Genie. Basically, their version of Game Genie. The handle controller? That ring a bell, Dave?
There's some things I don't remember some of the names, but
I gotta find it. I got a picture of it somewhere. I gotta find it. Yeah.
I did have the gun because they had their own version of the Zapper.
Oh, duh.
That came in the system. So.
Yeah, it's what you're talking about. The wheel. It's like a tank steering wheel.
Mm-hmm. It's like Knight Rider.
Oh yeah, I remember that thing. I didn't have that. It's too expensive.
So that is the handle controller is what they called for the Sega Master System. So which I thought was cool because I didn't I never knew the system existed.
I love that system.
So I didn't know.
That's the first thing I ever bought with my own money. That system was the first one I ever bought.
So this is all news to me, which is amazing because it's like, yeah, I want the stuff, but I'm never going to find it.
You get the system for $150 over at the store.
Yeah. Sega Light Phaser.
Oh,
Yeah, the gun, right? That came with the system.
It's got to be. Yeah, the gun.
Yeah.
So this is their version of the gun.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple games for that. They had like a shooting gallery one and different ones you can play.
Yeah. What games were for the shooting one?
I just don't remember. I know the shooting gallery and different ones I had, but they had hunting ones too. But it came with a system. I can't remember.
Okay.
I did have a shooting gallery one. I'm trying to remember what games. If I search it, watch it,
Trying to
probably
think
bring
what
back
game would be.
memories.
Yeah, I don't even think I've ever seen that. Oh, I got to show people here. There's the gun. The Sega Light Phaser. Next is the control stick. The Sega control stick is that's kind of cool.
Like a joystick or
It's it's almost like the old ratchet shift looking things, but it looks like there's two buttons here,
the gearbox,
a speaker, and then like some kind of a steering.
That was one of the ones. Shooting gallery, I remember. Safari Hunt was one. For you're talking about the Operation Wolf. Remember that arcade game from the 80s? They had it was a light gun. They had a version of that game. You could actually use it for that because
I think that's probably.
There's a ton of even you could use Rambo 3. I don't remember Rambo 3 being a shooting one, but
I might have to look into this.
Yeah,
I might have to.
They reminded me when I looked at the list. I go, yeah, I remember those games. No, yeah, I had Operation Wolf. I didn't think I had that, but like, wait a minute, that was a light gun game.
The control stick is, like I said, it looks like the Atari joystick, but it's got like a big fat handle on the top, and you can move it.
Yeah,
it's like all different directions. It's got two buttons for over here and then a speaker. So that's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
I might have had that thing. That's funny.
All right, so after that,
retro.
Rapid Fire Unit.
Rapid Fire, huh?
Number 5. Which one is it? Oh, what the heck? Oh, it's almost like a cheat box. You plug it in.
Like
it's on a wire and it's got a box, and you plug it. Looks like you plug in the controller into it.
Looks like a gas pedal.
Yeah, so it's basically a throttle.
Yeah.
So that was the way. So like the Call of Duty cheating. That's how they did it back in the day.
Wow.
So that's kind of cool. Rapid Fire Unit. Let's see what it says about it. In an attempt to add more firepower to our gaming accessories, Sega expanded upon its standard control pad with an add-on which introduced auto-fire functionality.
Nice.
This small block sat between the console and joypad, offering two independent switches to control which buttons were turbocharged. Weird. So yeah, I'll show the guys watching. It's that little accessory thing right there. It looks like an extension piece to the controller. The Master Gear Converter. Master Gear Converter. I don't know what the heck that is. It's a box of some kind with a screw hole. Looks like you plug it into the Sega Master System somehow. Let's see what it says. The Master System and Game Gear sharing near identical hardware. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, is this the one where you can play the Game Gear games on it?
I'm trying to remember because Game Gear came out during the Genesis era.
With the Master System and Game Gear sharing near identical hardware, the small cartridge slot on the handheld was the only thing preventing console software from being enjoyed on the go. The Master Gear Converter, something Gear Master, passed through the device rendered this by providing a larger slot for Master System Oh, so you could play the games on the Game Gear. What? That's crazy. So the Master Gear Converter you use so you can play the games on the Game Gear. That's crazy. Did you ever know that?
No.
Alrighty then.
Because Game Gear came out after the fact, like during Genesis era, after Genesis was out.
Yeah. That's crazy. Oh.
All I know.
Yeah, it shows it right there. See, there's the picture.
Yeah, that was an aftermarket thing.
Gears Master.
So you can put the game right in it, right in the Game Gear.
The thing I had, because I had so many Master System games, and the system I didn't have anymore, but because I had a Genesis at that point, they had the adapter you could play. That Sega made, you plug it into the Genesis, you can play Master System.
That's
games.
crazy. So so somehow that plugged into the black and into the back and slid down, and then the other game would go in. Okay, cool. That's cool. Sega Sports Pad. You guys heard of that one?
Yeah.
It's like the arcade ball, for golf.
Yeah, I had that.
And then the two buttons.
Yeah, I had that thing.
Did you?
Yeah.
What games did that you play with that?
I don't remember is the problem. They had different things you can like golf and different things you can do, and
one of
I think you use it. I think you can use it in the baseball game too. I think Reggie Jackson baseball you use it.
One of the few accessories to skip out on a European release was the rack ball equipped Sega Sports Pad. Although promoting a precious 360-degree movement range, three game compatible failed to deliver such accuracy. So it wasn't, even though it's supposed to do a certain thing, it didn't do it.
It wasn't that great, no.
Oh, that's cool.
We should play that again. I remember Afterburner.
What?
Sega.
We got them on the hard drive. There's some good ones on there. One of my favorite games is not on there for some reason, but that one I told you in my top 10 Penguin Land, where you go through a platform and you can make your own boards. That's not on there for some reason.
So my idea.
Afterburner is awesome on that game, on that system. The arcade games, the Double Dragon we put on the channel where we're playing co-op, we didn't beat it because it's hard. Sega Master System. Nintendo didn't have co-op. Double Dragon. Remember we played Double Dragon for that?
What was that one character? Because remember I showed you one thing, but it's like the one. I don't know if it was a boss, but it looked like Andre the Giant.
Yeah. You're talking about from like Final Fight.
And I don't know for Double Dragon. I thought it was from Double Dragon.
It might have been from Final Fight. Andre.
It wasn't
Andor.
Andre the Giant, but it actually looked like he was big and he had black suit on.
Yeah, I know. They have that. They know they have that Final Fight guy that looks like that, but they said they based the character on him. I'm trying to think if it was in Double Dragon. There's some game that has that guy like that too.
I was trying to figure where it was actually from.
So that's the end of that segment. Okay. I just wanted I'm gonna go through all the game systems.
It's pretty neat.
The next one, like Super Nintendo and Genesis, like Super Nintendo, like when we were over at the store, the Super Scope, their version of it's like a bazooka with I
got that. But I think
there's some games on it, but it wasn't as good. It wasn't as good. It wasn't as good as the Zapper.
And I have the game. It's brand new, never used. The box, everything. I didn't know what it was, so I just left it in the box. And I think I got it at Goodwill for $5 or something cheap. And
cool.
It was like 20 years ago though.
Yeah.
And I've just had it in the box ever since. The game.
That's some neat things.
Anyways, so I'm gonna do this like from now on to go through all the accessories.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna be taking a look at 2 consoles, and then we're gonna go through the accessories that came out with them.
Next one should be Genesis and Super Nintendo.
Yeah, exactly. Those are the next 2 that we're gonna be doing. Not today.
I don't think Genesis had any light guns, if I remember correctly, because I would have had one.
Yeah, not today, but I just wanted to introduce this segment into the podcast. I think it'd be fun when we go through.
Yeah.
Because I've been trying to brainstorm. This is
the amount of accessories they make nowadays too is crazy.
This is the only game we're gonna play. This is it's smash it, save it, or refresh it, but with a twist.
God bless you.
Thank you.
This is smash it, save it, or refresh it, but retro game accessory edition.
Okay.
So instead of video games, we're doing it with the accessories.
Okay. Go ahead. Right.
So the first one's for the Nintendo NES. Power Glove, Satellite, or the Robot.
Power Glove, I would redo. the robot needs to go.
That's what I was thinking.
And satellite, because it connects more controllers to make games. You know, if it's that's what it does, then that's fine. Leave it as is. But like, just update it a little bit. But you don't need to update it. But if it does what it does, like play 4 players. But the Power Glove, you can do the motion controllers that Nintendo worked on with the Wii, or the Bluetooth technology. Like I said during our segment, Power Glove would be kind of awesome.
Bluetooth, Wi-Fi.
Oh,
especially if because you had the D-pad and the buttons on here, you still had to use those. Yeah. But say that you had stuff where you could just do certain things with your hand.
Well, yeah.
And hit stuff without actually hitting the buttons.
If you had to say like the Portal was on your hand, but then you're playing on the console, you wouldn't have to use the joystick going around. You just put your finger on that, open that up, and you know it's Lawnmower Man. Sorry.
That's what it basically is.
I mean, there you go. That's what that's actually what they did in the movie too. Sorry, not to.
So what are you gonna do?
Not in a bad way. I mean, but what's that?
What do you?
I don't want to just say like it's cliche, but I agree with Dave.
Okay.
This, you know, with the robot, you know that.
Rob, I would only bring back for Super Smash Bros. Melee, something like that. Throw Rob the robot in there for like a character. Yeah, so like a character like that.
I would totally agree with that. And I was going to, but then I got an idea.
What?
We're gonna leave the Power Glove alone. We're gonna get rid of the satellite, and then we're gonna make it so that Rob the robot, because we're gonna redo it, gets controlled by the Power Glove.
Okay, yeah. Okay. That's a good idea.
And then we can throw some firecrackers on it.
Oh, combine. Okay.
Yep. Do some things to it to improve it.
People are already working on this. It's not that scale.
And control it by the Power
Glove.
Control it with the Power Glove. And have some fun with that. I think that'd be kind of
cool. I mean, you have the robot and it's moving around, and that could actually be your camera, and you can position it. It looks like a little toy.
Well, the funny thing about how Rob, because he had cameras, he looked at the thing, and he's supposed to do stuff when certain lights or things go on.
Limited movements, but it could be stuff that could be beneficial, especially for broadcasting. Okay.
All right. The next one, Sega. This is for the Sega Master System. The Sega controller stick, the Sega sports pad, and then the Master Gear converter.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah, because I don't even remember what the heck they are.
You're talking about the Master Gear converter, isn't that the thing where you play Game Gear, the Master System games on the Game Gear?
I think so.
If I remember correctly.
What was the first one? Sega?
The controller stick.
I would redo the controller stick. Redo the controller stick and bring that back, because there's so many games retro and other stuff you could play games on. Because a lot of people make third-party controllers for systems and make it compatible with PC, PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, and Xbox. Could you do something like that? Oh, it's Sega.
Yeah, so the controller stick is that
especially
one.
the sound.
With a big thing,
more buttons on it.
That. More things.
You put your palm right over it and just with fingers.
You can even do something where the stick itself, the top part, because it's bigger, like move around. So you can like if you want to drive, But
if it was, you could kind of like with the Wii and do certain things.
What was the second one?
Sega sports pad.
Yeah. There's sports games out there, so I don't. Maybe they could redo that.
But the other thing I'm like thinking, what are you gonna do with the Master Gear? Like,
convert the. You already have that
Master Gear converter.
I'd get rid of that.
It's pointless at this. Like, I just leave the pad alone. Get rid of the. We gonna do a new Master Gear converter for what? What system are you gonna put it in? But anything digital nowadays, you want to play retro games or digitally, they sell them on the marketplace. You don't need a converter for it.
You can put them on emulator.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
There's your converter.
Yep.
Get rid of the gear converter. Probably upgrade the sports pad, make it better, make it into a newer version, and then the Sega controller stick, leave it as it is. I think that's what I would do.
He's like, nope.
If it ain't broke,
I see
don't
50-50 on both of them, where just redo the sports pad because they're different things, because they're all the dance and all those other things that you can do with motion.
Dance,
but at the same time, just like the controller, depends on what you're doing and what the functionality of it is. Or combine them. Another combine. You can't make a decision. Bring them both together. You're gonna redo it. Mix it up. Instead of being all over the floor, just have it again over your arm. You got a new Power Glove for Sega.
Sega.
Motion sensitive.
Alright, then that concludes that segment.
So was just a question: if they had redid the Power Glove and say the Sega did their version of it too, was it ever right-handed or left-handed, or was this
It was
one
right. It was
way?
right. It
It's
was
always right-handed, right?
right-handed. Yeah.
So that would be something to redo, so we could have them.
But think about like even when you hold the D-pad, the left hand's the one that controls the D-pad, and then your the button. So it's like this with like
character and camera.
Yeah. Because most people are dominant right-handed.
Yes.
Yeah. Wonder how much that
Just think of the southpaws is all.
messed with the lefties.
Yeah, like Rocky Balboa knocking people out with a southpaw.
Wonder how bad that messed with the lefties. Like they probably couldn't use it.
Here's a funny story of just reminding the lefties and how messed up some people could be. I don't remember if you remember back in the day, Todd Marinovich, quarterback from USC that got drafted by the Raiders in the '90s. He was a left-hander, right? Guess what his crazy dad did?
Oh boy!
When he was younger, he tied his arm down, his right hand, so he would train him to be left-handed and make that dominance because it was like it's a rarity for left-handed quarterbacks or whatever. And he was like overly. I think he said something about because he wouldn't let him have McDonald's when he was a kid. I get it and all that sort of stuff.
That's Machino.
He became when he was older. He became Marijuanovich. That's what the nickname. That's what the nickname. I'm not ripping on him. I love the guy. I was a fan of his in college and stuff like that. I wanted him to do good, but I get when you get money and stuff gets crazy, and you hear stories of him telling all this stuff. But it made me think about the left-handed thing.
But if like you could throw with your right hand, but then if you got to do cross-arm with the left, surprise.
I can't say the word.
Ambidextrous.
Yes.
There's people that could do that stuff, like Larry Bird. Played the whole game. He even yells to the media. The last game of their long road trip against the Blazers, I'm going to play this guy with left hand. He scored like 30-something odd points left-handed. He's doing hook shots.
Oh, no.
Shooting all this stuff. Like he told everyone he was going to do it, and he literally scored like 30-some points. And a triple-double against the Blazers. It's hilarious. Like, you're so arrogant. Like, cocky, which I like trash talking. Yeah, he was such a back it up though. Trash talker. Yeah, it's hilarious.
I've seen videos of all the people that played with him, and like he hated it when they put him up against a white guy. Yeah, he wanted to go against the black guys playing.
Yeah, Barkley.
He talked so much trash to them, and it just.
Like Barkley tells a story even nowadays. Yeah. He's like Bird's talking to him when they're first, they're playing the Sixers, and he's like, "You guys are respecting me." Or whatever. And Barkley's like, "What do you mean we're not respecting? You got this white guy on me." Like,
for whatever reason, he just thought mentally.
It's like, give me a break. You're putting that guy on me. Yeah. He's like, you better get another guy out here.
And he was that good. He could back up his
he told
trash talk.
He would literally tell guys, "I'm going to shoot it." He told Xavier McDaniel when they were playing the Sonics in Seattle.
Some people challenge him.
I'm going to shoot it. I'm going to shoot it right here. I'm going to shoot it in your eye. I'm going to get the ball right here. I'm going to shoot it in your eye and hit it. And there was two guys on him, and he hit the game when he shot. And then even Xavier McDaniel said he looked up at Larry Bird looked at the clock. He's like, I didn't mean to leave any time on the clock. Because he left like a second or something. He meant to done. Like, you guys are done. He smoked him. Like, it's like...
Yeah, I heard a lot of stories from
it's hilarious.
The old generation that talking about all the trash talking they did. But.
Him and Michael and Reggie Miller, because of how much they talk. There's other guys that talk. Kobe nowadays, because they don't allow any trash talking.
Yeah.
The refs eject guys.
That's so
like
dumb.
Even for staring at a dude, like you dunk over a dude. Giannis Antetokounmpo for the Bucks, tied for my favorite player in the league right now. He dunked over a guy a few months, like I don't know if it was at the end of last year or this year. He dunked over a guy and he just stood looked at him. They teed him up and kicked him out of the game.
What?
That's messed up.
Like, wait a minute. Dumb. Like, give me a break. And then Luka Doncic was my favorite. He's probably my favorite player.
Yeah.
The other day,
any bad behavior. I mean, of course.
At the Lakers, there was a fan in the front row mouthing off to him, and Luka hit some shot and he was talking trash back to him, but the ref was standing over here. The ref teed him up twice and ejected him out of the game.
Get out of here.
He's like, I wasn't talking to you. Everybody's the teammates were trying to explain to the ref. He wasn't talking to you. He was talking to the guy who was yelling from the sideline at him. That's why I love Luka. Luka's one of those guys that'll talk trash like the old school guys. He'll back it up.
It's all silly. Yeah.
I respect it to a degree. If a guy can back it up, like that's fine and dandy.
Exactly. Yeah, do it.
Because a lot of those guys are arrogant in real life. Th're just like, no, on the court.
It's on the court.
That's why sports suck
on the field. And then after
a lot of sports are dumb. It's all silly.
But some can handle that. Some just, okay.
Like back in the early '90s, Michael Jordan. I think you were over in. I think they were playing Charlotte. In the they were playing the Hornets, and a fan earlier in the game was like ripping on because Michael wasn't having a good game in the beginning of the game, right? He was not hitting a lot of shots, and he used it as fuel.
Yeah,
he started talking trash to guys, and he ended up with 40. And he's like towards the end of the game, and even the Charlotte guys are like, dude, it's like after the game, he's like talking to like See what I do in your boy? Like ripping it. Like
Yeah.
he kept guarding me, and he kept talking to the fan.
And then they'll go to a commercial. So
awesome.
MJ just be like, looking over like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
like, thank you.
Back in the day with good.
That's how you
good-
respond.
Because you had
React
other
to
guys. No offense, LeBron
Good
James
way.
last year at a game, fans were talking trash
On
to
the
him
court.
in
Leave it on the
Sacramento
court.
from the front thing. He went over to the ref and had the fans kicked out.
Oh, get out of here!
I'm sorry, you're a snowflake. If you get guys used it as fuel.
Yeah.
Back then, Bird would be like Reggie Miller would like he was talking trash with in Madison Square Garden with Spike Lee because he was a huge Knicks fan. He'd be like choking. He made him choke. Reggie Miller took the smoke out of him and like scored like 9 points in like 30 seconds or something like that. He's going like this.
Yeah, people are trying to intimidate, but then you respond to it in kind.
Yeah.
You know.
So I'm sorry. Well, yeah, it's just fun.
Yeah,
stuff.
that's good.
Yeah. Dun, dun, dun.
Let's see. All right, guys, we're gonna get in the word here. Anybody want to lead us up for a prayer?
Sure.
All
All right. Dear Heavenly Father, dear Lord and Savior, dear Holy Spirit, thank you for this time together with Eric and Dave, and I just pray for your presence, Lord, and leading as we read from scriptures today. For guidance, that your seed find good ground, and for your presence, Lord. And thank you for this season and every season, Lord. Help us rely on you, to seek you, to grow and mature in faith, and to be vessels of honor in our homes, wherever we go, Lord, to abide in you, and to be of use and bear fruit to your glory. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. All right, so earlier on this week, I was listening to some sermons and some studies, and I gotta find screenshot. This thing uploaded pictures from like the first time I ever had a cloud thing, so it's completely screwed my phone. I gotta delete everything, so it's hard to find stuff. Okay. No, that's not right. Camera. Okay, so earlier on this week, I was listening to a sermon and study, and they brought up James 4 and then expectations. So I'm like, expectations, that might be something to look into. So I started looking into it. And what I came across was like, wow. So I looked up James 4. So if you want, we can get into James 4. I got.
Okay.
Sure.
You want to?
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. We're gonna
What section is James 4?
verses 1 through 10. We're gonna go through verses 1 through 10. And it's on selfish desires and covetousness. So this one, let's get into it.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna read from the King James version because that's just the one that I'm familiar with. I'm in no way, shape, or form a pastor. This is just we're getting in the Word. We're gonna read it and then kind of reflect on what we read.
Well, I'm gonna clarify that even pastors are only who they are by God's grace. Moses,
Amen.
Paul, everybody else. They're more important. No, they're just a sinner used by God's grace just like
There you
anybody
go.
else.
Yeah, there you go.
They're not more perfect than anybody else. They're sinners just like anybody else. The only one that's perfect is Jesus.
Yeah, and if anybody has anything to say, obviously leave your comments down below. I mean, everybody has the right to their opinion.
Doesn't mean I don't respect the position
Exactly.
that God's given them,
Yep.
but they're not better than anybody else.
Yep. So we're just gonna get in the Word, and what was it say? James 4 verses 1 through 10.
Okay. Want to start with those?
Yeah, that's where we're going. Yep.
Okay. All right. James chapter 4, verse 1 through 10. From whence come wars and fightings among you? Come they not hence, even of your lusts that war in your members? Ye lust and have not. Ye kill and desire to have, and cannot obtain. Ye fight and war, yet Ye have not, because ye ask not. Ye ask and receive not, because ye ask amiss, that ye may consume it upon your lusts. Ye adulterers and adulteresses, know ye not that the friendship of the world is enmity with God? Whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is the enemy of God. Do ye think that the Scripture saith in vain, the Spirit that dwelleth in us lusteth to envy? But he giveth more grace, wherefore he saith, God resisteth the proud, but giveth grace unto the humble. Submit yourselves therefore to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Draw nigh to God, and he will draw nigh to you. Cleanse your hands, ye sinners, and purify your hearts, ye double-minded. Be afflicted, and mourn, and weep. Let your laughter be turned to mourning, and your joy to heaviness. Humble yourselves in the sight of the Lord, and he shall lift you up. Amen.
That's some heavy stuff there.
Well, even the one even in the midst of that, because I remember Bill Galvin talk about it, and it's true. One of the most misquoted scriptures in the Bible is James 4:7. Submit yourselves therefore to God, resist the devil, and he'll flee from you. They forget the first part. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. No, you're not stronger than, even if it was the lowest dude on the totem pole. You're not stronger. No, it says that's how you do it. You submit yourself to God. Then you resist the devil, and he'll flee from you. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
I can handle it.
Yeah, exactly.
No, you can't.
So,
go for it.
Okay, and James addresses the root of conflict and strife, emphasizing that it stems from selfish desires and covetousness, urging readers to submit to God. There you go. Resist the devil and humble themselves before God. So, let's see. If this is the right one or not. Which one is it? Okay, so these are like key takeaways. So the source of conflict, verses 1 through 3. James identifies the root of conflict as desires for pleasure that war in your members. He suggests that people lust for things they don't have, and when they can't obtain them, it leads to conflict and strife. I got some stuff to comment on what I'm about to read, because these are just like my personal things that I'm going through. So that's what I'm going to share after.
Oh, you're fine.
And then another one for verses 1 through 3. The problem with covetousness. James highlights how people covet and cannot obtain, leading to fighting and war. He also points out that people do not ask God for what they desire, or they ask with the wrong motives to spend it on their pleasures. I think about that a lot.
Well, it's even sometimes like I even wrestling around about like even stuff that the Lord has for you and he tells you. It's easy for the flesh to get involved in that. With what I'm going through, it's like it's just there. It's just because your sin nature's there and whatever else, and God has a reason and a purpose for like even what with my significant other, like he has a reason and a purpose for it. But at the same time, you kind of want what you want and gets involved, and you kind of like had the Lord balance that stuff out. Like, okay, you're doing what you're doing because doesn't mean you don't want to bless us. It's just you have a reason and a purpose for it.
Yeah,
that's beyond what like the outward or the fleshly, worldly level that we kind of could live at times. That's what it's like. That I'm kind of like, is this really you? It doesn't mean it's not me. It's just you can get. It's just easily because your flesh wants to live one way or the other. Even if it's like, oh, from a pure motive, I could be the best Christian ever. No, you can't. God's only God in you can do that.
Yeah.
So it can flip flop either way because your old man wants to. I'm alive. God says you're dead, so be dead.
So this is in reference to verses 4 to 5. James calls those who are friends of the world enemies of God, and compares it to spiritual adultery. It's tough. It's like, where do you draw the line?
That's what he called Israel at a certain point. Like, they're a picture of Hosea. If you read the book of Hosea, he told him to go marry a woman born out of prostitution. Basically, she was and had children, and he named them a certain reason, and it was a picture of God the Father and his relationship with Israel, because they would go off. He loved them, and it was like, but they would go off and follow this guy, and go and do this thing, and blah 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 blah, and they had all this trouble. And he even told Isaiah it was a picture even of Hosea to go buy her back. She at a certain point, after doing all she did, she was on the slave market, and the love they had, like to buy her back. He went and bought her
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
And she didn't deserve that. It's just, that's the whole thing with us. Like, we could do the same exact thing. I'm going to go do what I want to do. But it's the same thing. It's like you're going after this and going after that. It doesn't mean certain things are bad. It's just in the proper context of how God wants to do them.
Mm-hmm.
But you try to figure it out and bash your head against the wall. That's how I feel sometimes. Like, is this really you? And it's like, just because you have, like I shared with you, just because I have, like with the whole thing I shared with Isaac in Genesis about he would dig a well, and then the enemy would come along and like challenge him. No, it's our water. And then he would move on. He didn't even fight with them. He'd go dig another well.
Yeah.
And he had more water. They'd come again and be like, no, that's ours. And he's like, okay. He left. They didn't even argue with him. Took another one. They didn't come up and argue with him. And then he called it God made him room. That's basically what he called the well. That's what it meant. It's like there's a point where you really got to see if the Lord wants you to persevere through something, or if I'm really fighting against God and really just trying to make my own way. Because even though how he handled it, he didn't handle it like a man in anger. He handled it like a meek man. He didn't fight like they say Moses was the meekest man that ever lived. He didn't fight. Doesn't mean he was weak. He was. It's like strength under control. So you didn't like, what? You're gonna resist that? I'm gonna, He didn't. No, okay. I'm gonna go do this and keep walking what the Lord has for me. He'll open up a door for me somewhere then. But you can be like what you're saying about the scripture praying, because you're praying amiss. Like, I want what I want.
Yeah.
Is there if I share something from John chapter 15 real quick?
Okay.
It has to do with, I think it's interesting how this is going in verse 4 there from James chapter 4, just having to do with whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is an enemy of God. And I just thought this interesting because this is our Lord speaking, Jesus, and I'm saying this in reverence because it just made me think of this, because there's so much in this whole chapter to go on, but I'm going to start in, let's see, where should I start? I'm trying to think. Well, while we're talking about it, I might as well just read it real quick. It's John chapter 15. At least I'm going to go through 17. 1 through 17 says, I am the true vine, and my Father is the husbandman. Every branch in me that beareth not fruit he taketh away, and every branch that beareth fruit he purgeth it, that it may bring forth more fruit. Now ye are clean through the word which I have spoken unto you. Abide in me, and I in you. As the branch cannot bear fruit of itself except it abide in the vine, no more can ye except ye abide in me. I am the vine, ye are the branches. He that abideth in me, and I in him, the same bringeth forth much fruit. For without me ye can do nothing. If a man abide not in me, he is cast forth as a branch and is withered, and men gather them and cast them into the fire that they are burned. If ye abide in me, and my words abide in you, ye shall ask what ye will, and it shall be done unto you. Herein is my Father glorified, that ye bear much fruit, so shall ye be my disciples. As the Father hath loved me, so have I loved you. Continue ye in my love. If ye keep my commandments, ye shall abide in my love, even as I have kept my Father's commandments, and abide in his love. These things have I spoken unto you, that my joy might remain in you, and that your joy might be full. This is my commandment, that ye love one another as I have loved you. Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. Ye are my friends, if ye do whatsoever I command you. Henceforth I call you not servants, for the servant knoweth not what his Lord doeth, but I have called you friends. For as all things that I have heard of my Father I have made known unto you. Ye have not chosen me, but I have chosen you, and ordained you, that you should go and bring forth fruit, that your fruit should remain, and that whatsoever ye shall ask of the Father in my name, he may give it to you. These things I command you, that ye love one another. If the world hate you, ye know that it hated me before it hated you. If ye were of the world would love his own. But because ye are not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hateth you. Remember the word that I said unto you, the servant is not greater than his Lord. If they have persecuted me, they will also persecute you. If they have kept my saying, they will keep yours also. But all things will they do unto you for my name's sake, because they know not him that sent me. If I had not come and spoken unto them, they had not had sin, but now they have no cloak for their sin. He that hateth my Father, verse 23, he that hateth me hateth my Father also. Correction. If I had not done among them the works which none other man did, they had not had sin, but now have they both seen and hated both me and my Father. But this cometh to pass that the word might be fulfilled that is written in their law, they hated me without a cause. But when the Comforter is come, whom I have sent unto you from the Father, even the Spirit of truth, which proceedeth from the Father, he shall testify of me. And ye shall also bear witness, because ye have been with me from the beginning. John chapter 15. It really got on me to having to do with a friend, but also, again, pointing right to the Lord. I think it's interesting. How that all transpired was just thinking about how we read up to verse 10. Humble yourselves in the sight of the Lord, and he shall lift you up. A lot, you may hear the saying, chapter and verse. I was just thinking how there's things that you're going on made me think a lot more just reading and continuing the rest of the chapter 4. I thought it was interesting how that ends, and we can go there too, but like I said, just led through there, and there's a lot right there, going through what the Lord said in this, the world, him, his love, how to treat one another, his commandments, to obey him, and that's interesting how he calls us friends, to listen and to do whatsoever he says, and that's the part I think, submitting, we submit to one another's in the fear of God, and getting a little shaky. This is, tough stuff, and but we're saved by his grace, and I'm not trying to say that I'm perfect in any way. We're workmanship in his hands, the clay, the potter, and it's good when we can examine ourselves and look at how we are and how much we need him, and he's the way, the truth, and the life.
All right, so this is key takeaways for verses 6 to 10. There's a couple of them here. It says, James urges readers to submit to God, resist the devil, and draw near. That's what you were talking about earlier. Draw near to God, cleanse their hands, and purify their hearts. He emphasizes that God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. And the next one is James highlights that God will exalt those who humble themselves before him. He also reminds readers to mourn and weep over their sins, and to let their laughter be turned into mourning.
First thing the Lord's reminding me of with that is the parable of the Pharisee in the temple, like saying, he's like praying to God, thank you, I'm not like this guy, or like I'm this, I'm not that, like all these different sins, and I'm thankful I'm not like this publican sinner over here. And then he said the other guy was like, couldn't even look up to heaven, beating his own chest and have mercy on a sinner like me, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, which one's actually justified? Because the other guy thought he was this, that, and the other thing, that his poop didn't stink.
In comparison to others,
in comparison to the other guy, like the whole comparison, like, I'm not as bad as this guy. It's like, you are though, because you might not be doing the things you're doing, but the simple fact of the matter, no matter who you are, even if the other person didn't exist, even if the other person didn't do what they do, the things that they're doing, he still died for you on the cross. He still died for your sins. Even if you think, like when you look at Scripture, when Paul says, "I'm the chiefest of all sinners," and he gives a reason why he is. What's your reason? Like, I'm not as bad as that guy. It don't matter, because God ain't gonna line you up. If you rejected Jesus, he ain't gonna line you up and compare you to Hitler, Jeffrey Dahmer, your husband, your wife, your neighbor, the rapist, the pedophile, or whoever else, the blasphemer. He's going to compare you to him. How do you compare to my son? Everybody falls short.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the thing. That's why we need him.
Yeah.
Everybody falls short.
Yep.
So nobody's better than the other guy just because I would never eat my own kids like in the Old Testament. I would never do like.
For boast in the Lord.
So I'm sorry, I'm getting like it's always one of those things that always reminds me of that. Like I don't want to be, because we can all get in that mode. We can all get in that mode that you think you're better than somebody else because you're not doing that, and the Lord's like, no, because I died for them too.
Yep. So this has been on like selfish desires and covetousness, and some of the examples of these are questions I ask God randomly when I get frustrated with things in life. In general, like why can't I have a vehicle like everybody else? Like these are just things that I'm constantly questioning him on. I'm not constantly, but sometimes I'll get into it with him.
Yeah.
I wrestle with him over it. Why can't I ever go on random road trips or vacations like everybody else? Why am I always chasing that dangling carrot? A lot of times I just got to look at what I do have and be content. I have my wife, my kids, the roof over our head. the food, the clothes, etc. So like that's in conclusion. That's basically where it always falls. Where it always falls on is being content with what God has already given you, and I guess that's been like the story of my life. But with that being said, you can see where God has brought me from glory to glory to glory.
Yeah.
Because I'm not where I once was.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So that when you look back, you're like, "Holy cow, Lord, we've walked we've walked a long ways since the beginning," and we forget about that. You know, like where were we before now? Where were we when we first started holding hands with Jesus and walking?
Yeah.
So I struggle with that because I have wants. I have things.
Yeah, so do
I have wants. And then a lot of things that I want, I don't understand why I can't have. But at the same time, I got to try to stay humble and think about what I do have and be happy with that. And the Lord, He'll bless you with what you need. Obviously, you got to trust in Him. And
it's all about Him. And I don't want to just say that loosely either, but it's also actually having that, feeling and having that relationship and knowing that there's no one like Him, and there can be times even Lord say, "Oh, I don't feel happy, so something's wrong."
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
like, no, but
sometimes it's just not easy.
Following,
being content,
and trusting, and knowing we're not alone, and that's more than just like, well, even like say the first breath we had this morning, we woke up, we take for granted, but it's like, why can't I have, we all have needs. I'm not trying to go over things, but at the same time, but then it's still going forward and things working out in His timing, and saying that reverently, because again, I'm the same, there's things, that I want, but at the same time, I have to keep that in check. Because it's easy to say, well, what if this or that? And usually when you want something, you get that and you want more. Instead of just being thankful and
content. Isn't that crazy how it's the Lord will give you that little bit, but then when you get there, you're like, man.
Yeah.
What
about pancakes? What about the syrup? What about eggs? It's just like, whoa.
Yeah.
You need food.
Here's a plate first.
Yes. But I mean, it's,
the silverware.
fill in the blank because, I'm thankful for this time.
That's another good that's another good study. Thank you guys for your time. Thank you for hanging out.
Absolutely.
Thank you for your friendship, your fellowship. It's always a blessing going through this and just hanging out. And
yeah. All right. That's what I'm talking about.
Hanging out with each other and doing stuff.
Yes.
Even when we get to go to the game stores and check out something. Sometimes we get something, sometimes we don't.
Mm-hmm.
Just how it is.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, if you guys have any comments, questions, please leave them down in the comments below. If you want to argue with anything, whatever, just leave it in there. We'll go through it, go over it, check it out, see what you have to say, and we'll get back at you. We ain't bashful, we ain't shy here. If you guys liked your scene, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to come check us out on Facebook and we're not on Instagram yet. Facebook and TikTok, yeah. If you need to get hold of us for any reason, we do have an email address, that GameChatandChill@yahoo.com. What am I forgetting? I'm always forgetting something.
So when you get older.
Yeah.
You'll remember after you say something.
Yeah. I should have did it that way. But anyways, thanks guys for your support. Yeah. And don't forget, guys, just keep gaming.